Hi, this is Lesley Canarium, Reader Conversations Librarian here at the Rogers Public Library. And for today's March Take It, Make It project, we're going to make Pi Day banners. As most of you probably know, the 14th of March is celebrated as Pi Day because 314 are the first three numbers of the magical irrational number pi. Shout out to my friend Autumn, a librarian in Pennsylvania, who sent me this really cute idea for a Pi Day banner featuring slices of pie. But when she sent me her instructions, it called for a lot of sewing through 4 layers of felt, which was not going to happen with these hands. So I experimented a bit, and I did find 3 colors of felt that had glue backing, red, white, and yellow already. You'll get those. But for the rest of them, I needed a bunch of different colors. Tried a glue gun, and that worked pretty good. So for this one, you're going to want to either use a glue gun, like I'm going to show you, or if you decide you want to sew it, great, I applaud you. It'll look really classy. In your packet, you're going to get this pattern sheet, which has the patterns for everything you're going to want to do. And you're going to start with a pie pastry, which you're going to make with the light brown. I measured it out, and if you pack them in tightly, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, so, do it like this, and that will be less cutting. And also, you should be able to fit up to 9 pie pastries for your banner. You can do anywhere between 5 and 9. I chose to do 7 because I think it's a good number. Cut those pieces of pie pastry out like that, but you also want to save the scraps. And I'll show you why later. You've got this piece of pie pastry. It's a little sloppy, that's fine, because we're gonna be trimming it. And let's go ahead and cut out the pattern for the pie filling. You don't want to use your good sewing scissors while you're cutting the paper, because it's not good for them. And you see that just fits right in there with a bit for the pie crust on the top. You are going to want to cut 5 to 9 of these. You have several different colors. If you're going to be doing more than 5 slices, you're going to have to double up at least one of them. So because I like chocolate, I'm going to double up on the chocolate pie filling and just trace around the pattern. And this is where you do want your good sewing scissors, nice sharp scissors to cut out the felt. Makes it a lot easier. Put a strip of glue right along the edges. And as always, I warn you, be careful with the glue gun. The tips get hot. I can't tell you how many times I have burned myself with hot glue. And take my good scissors again, and I'm just gonna neaten up the edges a little so it looks nice and pretty when I put it on my banner. But what's chocolate pie without whipped cream on top? So we have our pieces of white felt, and this is one of the colors that I was able to get with the adhesive backing. I've already traced around the pattern for the whipped cream that you have on your pattern sheet. So let's cut ourselves out a couple of blobs of whipped cream. We don't even have to worry about the glue gun. We just take the adhesive backing off and plop on our whipped cream. And those of you who are gonna go a little extra and sew it instead of using the adhesive or the glue gun, you want to remember, sew the whipped cream onto the pie filling first, and then sew the pie filling onto the pastry, because that way you won't have to be going through so many different layers. And most of your pie, different kinds of pie, are going to be just that easy. We've got chocolate, and then we've got some that I've made ahead of time. We've got butterscotch, which is actually my favorite pie. And we've got pumpkin. So those are all ready to go. And then we have fruit pies. We're going to be a little different. We've got red for cherry pie, and that once again uses the stick-on backing. It comes with the adhesive backing, as does the yellow for the apple pie. For the fruit pies, we want to make one of these nice lattice top decorations. If you're sewing, you're going to do this before you put the fruit filling on, but if you're gluing it after you put the fruit filling on, we're going to make a lattice top. And to do that, we're going to take the scrap bits of fabric and we're just going to cut out some strips of pastry. You'll need probably about 8. In this case, because I have pinking shears, I'll go ahead and give the nice pinking shear edge onto it. But you don't really need to do that. It'll look just as nice if you use your regular scissors to cut the strips. You want to cut the strips pretty thin, though, maybe no more than 1/4 inch, because you want that yummy fruit filling to show through. You notice I haven't trimmed it yet. We're going to take our piece of pie and we're going to start gluing on the lattice strips. And we're going to put them on not quite parallel to the edge of the pie. And now we're going to start weaving them just like you would be doing if you were making an actual pie. And when you get to the edge, you're going to want to just glue them in place. And now we need our extra strips just to get us down to the edge. And glue all the end pieces in place. And we're going to trim the edges off and make it all look nice. And then here we are in the South, and what did we forget? Pecan pie. But that's a little more tricky. You do have a pattern piece here for pecan, but I was looking at that, and when I first tried this, it just didn't look right without the sewing giving it that nice scrunkly texture that you know that pecans get. And you don't have to do this, but if you want, in your kit you got some nice pecan colored embroidery thread, and we're just gonna put a few lines around each piece, each little pecan, to give it that nice texture. I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you draw all your pecans. I did 13. That's probably overkill. I probably won't need that many. On your piece of felt first, and then embroider them before you cut them out. I just put 2 little stripes on each pecan. You can put 1 or 3 or whatever feels right to you. Just a little tip, as you can see from the back of this and what a mess it is, nobody's going to see the back of them. And rather than just cutting and reknotting and cutting and reknotting the thread, I just did it all in one big line. But I did knot at the end of each stripe, just in case I find myself cutting through them at the stripes, because we don't want anything to unravel. I also, instead of using the black that I used to outline the pattern pieces on the other pieces of the pattern, I used brown, because I'm going to let a little bit of that show when I cut them out, because we all know when you make pecan pie, it's all sorts of colors of beautiful different browns going on in there. And like I said, this bit is totally optional, but I think it's nice. So now I'm going to cut out all my different pecan pieces. They are a funny shape, so you're going to want to use your good sharp scissors on these, but also it's okay if they're not perfect. All right, there we go. A whole handful of yummy, scrunchy pecans. And now it's time to start putting them in our pie. Doesn't matter if they overlap off the edges, because once again, we're going to trim these. Just fill that slice of pie right up. And now I'm going to just flip this over and give that a nice clean pie edge. Okay. All right, I think 7 slices of pie is certainly enough for anybody. So let's go ahead and start putting our banner together. You're going to have in your kit a nice long string of jute that we're going to use for the banner. And you want to fold it in half so you can find the center. And that's where you're going to want to put piece of pie. Really doesn't matter which one, but you can do them in any order you like. Just fold over that crust and make a nice little tube for your string to run along. Now you're going to need 2 more, one on either side. Let's go for the pumpkin over here. You want to put about 2 inches between your pieces, more or less. And let's go with that butterscotch pie. You want to make them fairly evenly distributed. How about we go for that cherry pie? If your crust doesn't fold over perfectly, you can just scrunch it up a little. That's perfectly natural in every pie I've ever seen. And I'm going to go put the apple on the other side here. Okay, and on the end, my 2 slices of yummy chocolate pie. And there we go. Hope you had fun. Happy Pie Day, everyone. Join me again in April when we're going to make flowering spring tree collages out of buttons.